Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the press today. Reaching you live from our Abuja studio. I am Anire, Binitie. Happy Post-Democracy Day. Yes, it's a wonderful day to be with you on the show this morning, and we have a lot to talk about. The post-democracy celebration, and of course, Labour threatening to call for a strike, calling the federal government to a meeting to discuss issues trending in that sector. And of course, we'll take a look at the posthumous awards given by the president, the Democracy Day Award. In between the mix, there were some mix-up. We're going to take a look at that. And of course, calling to mind Kudirat Abiola, who made that list. These are some of the issues that we shall be taking a look at today on the press. Of course, we have other issues on the front pages of the papers. We'll take a look at those too. But today, our focus is on the Labour threatening to call fresh strikes, and of course, the posthumous awards, and yes, the post-Democracy Day celebration, of course, protest in Nigeria. We'll start the show the way we normally do, which is with our weather report, and of course, we transcend from there into the front pages of the papers. And after that, we have a guest on the show. But the most interesting part of it is you get to be part of the show. And the only way to do that is to ensure that you call in once the phone lines are opened. All right? That's the way we do it on the press. And we're going to do the same today. Without wasting much time, because we have a lot on our hands today, let us go straight on now to what the weather is saying. We have weather predictions for a couple of states, and if you stay in those states, then you should be interested in what we're giving you this morning. And of course, if you're traveling, then you have a heads up on the type of weather to expect in the state. So this morning we're starting south from Port Harcourt, and Port Harcourt started today at 26 degrees. 9 a.m. presented 27. By 10 a.m. is predicted to rise to 28. Is one step up to 29 degrees by 11 a.m. and 30 by 12 p.m. Port Harcourt today is cloudy with highs at 30 degrees and lows at 24 degrees. However, thunderstorms from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. are expected, with drizzle expected at 3 p.m. So there you have it, Port Harcourt this morning. Of course, let us take a look at Imo. Imo this morning started at 25 degrees, 9 a.m. presented 26. By 10 a.m., it is expected to rise to 28. 11 a.m., we'll see it rise to 29, while by 12 p.m., we should see it rise to 30. Imo is going to be cloudy today with highs at 31 degrees and lows at 23. However, rainy conditions expected around 3 p.m. That's your weather for Imo this morning. Moving away from Imo, let us jet all the way to Kano. Kano this morning never fails. You can see the sun peeking out of the clouds. Kano started at 26 this morning, 26 degrees. By 9 a.m., it was 28 degrees. 10 a.m. is expected to rise to 29. 11 a.m. will see it rise to 31. And by 12 p.m., it is expected to rise to 32. Hot, hot, hot. Kano is going to be partly cloudy with highs at 36 degrees and lows at 24. Cloudy conditions expected around 10 a.m. Away from Kano, let us take a peek at Kaduna this morning. Kaduna started at 24 degrees. By 9 a.m., it rose to 25. 10 a.m. will see it rise to 26, 11 a.m. 28 degrees Celsius, and by 12 p.m. we'll see it rise to 29. Kaduna is going to be mostly cloudy with highs at 31 degrees and lows at 22. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 2 p.m. All right, let us take a look at Abuja Municipal. Abuja started at 25 degrees but rose to 26 by 10 a.m. By 9 a.m., I beg your pardon, but it is expected to rise to 27 by 10 a.m. And at 11 a.m., we're expected to see it rise to 28, and 12 p.m., 30. Abuja also will be mostly cloudy with highs at 32 degrees and lows at 23. And the partly cloudy conditions are expected around 2 p.m. I think we have one more to go. Let me take a look. Lagos is hiding somewhere. All right. I think that's all we have for our weather report this morning. So there you have it. Our weather report for this morning, the 13th day in the month of June. If you heard your state mentioned, just ensure that you prepare yourself for the weather situation in that state. Okay, let us move on now to what the papers are saying. It is turn by turn, so it will get to everyone eventually. Everyone we expect to be on the list, we eventually get to make the list. Again, Kudirat Abiola, the wife of MK Abiola, made the list after how many years posthumously. So everyone will have their chance, and I hope to make that list one of these days. Yes. All right, let us move on the front page of the Punch. Democracy Day fireworks. Tinubu opposition trade blows. More of that read on page 2. Protesters, APC supporters hold parallel rallies in Lagos, Abuja. Protesters, APC supporters hold parallel rallies in Lagos, Abuja. That was a tongue twister. I almost bit my tongue there. All right, on the front page of the Punch, there's a pictorial. Yes, indeed. We've had this for a couple of days. President Tinubu commissioning some projects. Today is Apple Wasa Road, as is welcomed. So there you have it on the front page of the Punch this morning. All right, let us move away from the Punch. Let us take a look at what next paper to take a look at. The Guardian. Let us take a look at The Guardian. The Guardian this morning. President Nigerians differ on progress impact 32 years after. That's the screaming headlines on The Guardian newspaper. President Nigerians differ on progress impact 32 years after. Yes, and above that, NNPC remits 4.7 trillion naira as oil revenue shortfall hits 5.7 billion US dollars. NNPC remits 4.7 trillion naira as oil revenues shortfall hits 5.7 billion US dollars. And beside that story, June 12, Soldo Fashola Jega advocate electoral reforms, national rebirth. And beside that, one passenger survives as plane crash kills over 260 in India. Very, very sad indeed. Very sad. We pray for the families who lost loved ones. We pray that, you know, they get the strength to bear this very, very terrible loss that happened. So let us move on the front page of The Guardian. On the front page of The Guardian, you see the pictorial of those honored and those present with us and those posthumously honored right there on the front page. Abiola family seeks legislation to institutionalize June 12. Aliyah accuses religious leaders of fueling insecurity in Benue. Wow. The allegation and accusations just continue. Recall a couple of days ago, he did say that politicians were the ones fueling insecurity in Benue. And right now, this morning, we're getting religious leaders also in that category. All we're saying is peace, peace, peace for Benue State. That's all we pray for. That's what we wish for. And actions must be taken to ensure that what we desire is achieved, not just lip service. Action, accurate action, proper action, information should be taken to ensure that we restore peace to Benue. All right, we have more stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Varsities must score 7% in 4 key areas to get full NUC accreditation, says the federal government. That's on education. International Day, emergency services at risk, over 80% blood shortage in hospital. Yes, so that's the front page of the Guardian this morning. Let us move on to the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune this morning also has a pictorial of the commissioning that will involve the president this morning, Apo Wasa Road today. Above the mast, however, Kudirat Abiola, Ige Sarawiwa, Rewane, Nwosu, Shoyinka, others get national honors. Ogoni 9 granted presidential pardon, national honors. No plan to turn Nigeria into one-party state, says Tinubu. Of course, the very sad story coming from India, plane heading to London from India, carrying 230 passengers, crashes. Only one survives. That's one lucky man. All right, we have, I think that's all we have on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. So let's move on. Let's move on to This Day. This Day newspaper front page says, Tinubu to PDP, it's my pleasure seeing you in the Sari, one-party state, not our plan. That's This Day newspaper. There's a rider to that, confers national honors on Yaradua, Shoyinka, Kudirat Abiola, Nadeko chieftains, right activist, journalist, others. Pardons Ken Sarawiwa, other Ogonis. Dakares Akpabio, Abbas are the national presiding officers with national honors. All right, the front page also has, the front page also has the commissioning going on today. All right, there's a last one. Atiku today, Nigeria teeters on edge of dangerous precipice, crippling one party. All right, that's on politics. Okay, let us move on away from This Day newspaper. Let us take a look at the Daily Times. The Daily Times newspaper, Heroes of Democracy, Tinubu confers posthumous honors on Kudirat Abiola, Yar'Adua, Nwosu, Sarawiwa, others. Return Nigeria to 1963 Constitution for true federalism, per Ruben Fashawanti. Okay, democracy in our hands, Nigerians reflect on gains of governance. Nigeria's total exports reached 20.598 trillion naira in fourth quarter 2025. I hope I got that number. Nigeria's total exports reached 20.598 trillion naira in first quarter 2025. Beside that story, Fashola Jega speak on rule of law, election reform at June 12 platform. And above the mast, your government is far from Nigerians, Obi tells Tinubu. Okay, let us move on to the Daily Trust. Let us take a look at the Daily Trust this morning. The Daily Trust says PDP, ADC, SDP take on Tinubu on opposition comment. And above that story, no democracy as long as Rivers is under emergency rule, says Dixon. Protest against hardship flops in states. 8 family members die in Zaria auto crash. Survivor narrates moment before crash that killed 240. June 12, governors seek commitment to democratic ideals. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, Tinubu honors Yar'Adua, Balarabe, Musa, Kudurat Abiola, Shoinka, others. All right, let us move on to the Daily Monitor. Daily Monitor this morning. Democracy Day. No plan to turn Nigeria into a one-party state, says Tinubu. 3 writers to that story affirms willingness to welcome any person who deems it fit to join APC. Honors Kudurat Abiola, other heroes of democracy. Mixed reactions trail President's one-party denial. Democracy. Nigeria needs total restructuring before 2027, Pat Utomi. Above the mast, June 12, Nigeria can be classified as a democratic country, Peter Obi. Ignore critics who call us rubber stamp lawmakers, Akpabio tells colleagues. I take that again. Ignore critics who call us rubber stamp lawmakers, Akpabio tells colleagues. And beside that story, NCAA endorses solution to resolve travel challenges. June 12, Gani Adams, Falana, others call for true federalism, new constitution. I'll not rest until total peace is restored in Benue, Governor Alia. All right, let us move on. That's all we have on the Daily Monitor this morning. Let us take a look at the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun this morning says, Tinubu Atiku Obi, PDP clash on Democracy Day. President mocks opposition for inability to fix crisis in parties. Also on the Daily Sun, Labour set for fresh battle over minimum wage consequential adjustments meets federal government. So the consequential adjustments is what we were taking a look at as Labour threatens fresh strike or fresh face-off with the federal government. We shall be taking a look at this with our guest. Pray that he makes it. All right, I think we've done the Daily Sun, the Daily Monitor, Daily Trust, the Punch, Vanguard, the Guardian, the Tribune. Let us take a look now at the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent this morning says, don't blame the factors jumping off a sinking ship, says Tinubu. Says one party state not in the offing, nor should it be. Mark's opposition tells them to put their house in order. Confers national owners on Kudurat Abiola, Humphrey Nwosu, others. Grants posthumous pardon to Ken Saro-Wiwa, 8 Ogoni activists. Democracy is declining in Nigeria, Peter Obi Atiku 1. The patriotic asks federal government to speed up process for true democratic constitution. We are not obligated to solve PDP, LP, others' internal crisis, says the APC. Falaye insists he won 1999 presidential election. Makes case for parliamentary system of government. And on health, Lassa fever death toll rises to 142 across 18 states. Lassa fever is dangerous. I remembered as a student in Ekpoma, I actually had that, I got infected with Lassa fever, but I was just lucky. I guess I was lucky because I lost a friend in my class who had Lassa fever. We lost Augusta. She died, a very dear friend. But I'll call it a miracle. I survived Lassa fever. It wasn't funny, it was scary, and the statistics we're having now, it's not good at all. We just pray that the federal government take Lassa fever very seriously because it is really, really deadly. All right, let us move on. Tinubu missed golden opportunity to restore democracy in Rivers, says Dixon. Resist anti-democratic actions of APC government, PDP tells Nigerians. Survivor of Air India crash jumped out of emergency exit, police say. That's on page 6 of the Daily Independent. All right, I think we have one more paper, which is on sports. Punch Sports Extra this morning. Dorcas Adeshokon exclusive. Being off the court for 2 years wasn't easy. I missed badminton during the period, but I had to stick to the plan and return. For all sports lovers, please make sure, if you're interested, you get your copy of the Punch Sports Extra so you can read the rest stories. All right, that is how we round off on our front page, but the show is still on. I've just been told that my guest is here. Remember, we have 3 focus that we're taking a look at. We're taking a look at our post June 12 democracy celebration, and of course, we're taking a look at the new threat by Labour and the posthumous award given by this government to mark this year's Democracy Day, or a celebration. Of course, there were some errors in there too. We'll take a look at these 3 main features, and this will happen when we return with our guests. But not to forget that you are also part of the show from the flip side, the other side of the camera, as you call in. Once you see the phone numbers on your screen, please call only when you see the phone numbers, when it's time for you to call, so we can actually converse. We'll take a break. When we return, the conversation. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back. If you just joined us, it is the press, and I'm glad to let you know that my guest is right here in the house. Is Prince Richard Oriri, a public affairs analyst, is a friend to this house. If you watch KAFTAN TV, then you know this is a very known face. Richard, it's so nice to have you on the press this morning.
It's my pleasure. Good
morning. Was short notice, and as usual, you're always there to do service, not just to the station, but to Nigeria.
National service.
I'm telling you, national honors. Not to worry, you'll get your flowers.
Amen. Amen.
You'll get your flowers when the day come, because they're going on me too.
Very well, because you are doing justice to national issues.
Yes, indeed. I hope those who bring out the list listening can be 5 years from today, 10. I'll wait as long as I make the list. So we're taking a look at three main focus this morning. We're taking a look at the post-June 12 celebration, Democracy Day, and of course the posthumous awards given by the federal government. And of course, we're taking a look at Labour, calling for fresh dialogue with, federal government. When they talk about the consequential adjustment of the new minimum wage, Labour is saying, you know what, since June last year, Nigerian workers are not enjoying anything. So we want to take our focus on those today. But let me, take a peek into your mind on the state of the nation before we go straight into our discourse this morning. Richard, what is your state of mind on the state of Nigeria today, 13th of June?
Yeah, the state of Nigeria, June 13th, 2025. As you can see, you are in Nigeria, I'm a Nigerian. We are all seeing it, we are feeling it, we are touching it. It's quite glaring that we are where we are, and it's not surprising, but it's surprising. Yes, yesterday the president honored some distinguished Nigerians, and if you look at the honor critically, you will see that his direction. He was equally one of them. He has benefited from the struggle. Today is the president. People like Shehu Sani of Kaduna and so many other persons, late Gani Fawemi, Femi Falana, and all of them, they belong to the NADECO, and they fought tirelessly to ensure that we have democracy today. But like Kudirat Abiola, who was equally honored as well, and many others, something I thought of something yesterday. Among all of these persons that were honored, I was expecting that the president too will recognize somebody like this Ekiti, former governor of Ekiti State, Femi, is it Kayode, what is the name, the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, because he fought seriously as well. He ran what they call Radio Kudirat, that has no address. Nobody knew where he was broadcasting from. Where he was broadcasting from. He contributed so much to. Yes, he has equally benefited from democracy. He has been governor 2 times. He has been minister and other positions within since we started democracy in 1999 again. Yes, the president has done well, but looking critically at what democracy should be, all of these persons he has honored. Most of them, they fought, they couldn't win. Like Kuti, Femi Gani Fawemi. Gani Fawemi fought so much, he fought so hard. He couldn't make it because he was not in government. And Femi Falana is still fighting, he's still there. Professor Wole Soyinka is still there. So the issue is that what has democracy, what do they see democracy to be? Democracy that they fought to bring to us. What is their concept? What is the concept of democracy to them? and what have they given to Nigerians to show clearly that they are showing leadership by example? Those are things, those are questions that Nigerians are asking. And if you see what is going on, what is happening in Nigeria, you see poverty, you see excluding some sections of the country from participating actively in politics, not allowing Nigerians to select who will sincerely and truly lead them through electoral process, which is one of the key ingredients of democracy, and human rights abuse and many other things that is happening in Nigeria today. Those are questions Nigerians are asking. Yes, he has done well by honoring them, and that is a motivation for some of us growing up, that there's always a payback for whatever you do, and we thank him for doing that, for recognizing them, but we still have to retrospect.
Yes, indeed. There's always room for that, as it were. So, but let us take a look at this year's June 12 celebration, aside what you just talked about now. It was held yesterday. So we want to take a look. I want to ask you, did it live up to par? Was it up to your expectation? How the turnout was all over the country, the 36 states, including the FCT. What were your expectations before and, of course, during, and what are the rippling effect, you know, after just yesterday, you know, after the celebration? So we'll start with your expectation. The expectation wasn't as it should be. Nigerians should be celebrating, smiling, dancing, and in fact enjoying and showing clearly on their faces that they are happy. But there was no happiness on the faces of Nigerians. And you see, with the strategy and the intelligence of the president, he knew it from that direction as well. The Nigerians are not too happy. Instead of giving a national broadcast, he chooses to go to the National Assembly. And there was a joint briefing yesterday of the National Assembly, bringing the 360 members of the House of Representatives together, then the 109 senators together, and past the leadership of the National Assembly, past Senate President, past speakers of the House of Representatives. He brought all of them together and he addressed them, sending message directly through them to the people. But looking behind the National Assembly complex, looking outside the National Assembly complex, where these stakeholders were gathered for the president to addressing them, what do we see? We saw anger. We saw tight faces. We saw poverty. We saw many things. And it shouldn't be like that. Ordinarily, we were not expecting that Nigeria would still be in this line that we are today, like what happened yesterday. So it's a whole lot of things that we still need to ask our leaders, that what we are practicing, is it truly democracy or what? And like I said, anger was so much, so high. And if you look at, if you can check from the theory, or normally I like that theory so much because it's very good to be used in Nigerian perspective. A theory of this aggression theory, a theory of is it suppression aggression theory. This suppression aggression theory is in a way propounded by John Dollard in 1939. It says that when suppression is so high, it leads to psychological tension. And when this psychological tension becomes so high and you can no longer keep it, you will find a way to releasing it. And in the process of releasing this tension in you, it leads to aggression. And this aggression, you channel it normally, ordinarily, should be channeled towards the source of the suppression. It should be channeled toward the source of the suppression. But in our case, since we cannot have you cannot have access to the source
who are the elite in power, who are the political class in power, and most of these top civil servants who are conniving and synergizing with the political class to doing this injustice to the general masses, the general population. You will not look for a soft target. And that is why you see insecurity. The insecurity, most of the insecurities we are having in Nigeria, they are the rural areas. They are the rural areas. Just the soft target, because they cannot reach out to the main actors that have
the poor feeding on the poor.
Yes, the main people that have caused Nigerians this anger. Have caused Nigerians this anger. Those are the elites. So there's so much anger in the land. And if we sincerely want to see that we practice democracy, we should find a way to see that there's happiness everywhere, that there's a good life, there's a freedom of expression, freedom of the citizens should have the right to sincerely and truly choose who lead them. But those are things that we still pray to see, but we are not seeing it the way we should see. So democracy is totally not democracy like from yesterday that we have seen. And even today, today is 13th of June, if you are on the road driving to this place, I saw some things, the road still scanty everywhere, even trees are not shaking. So things are not normally, things are not normal.
That's normal. Now, talking about aggression, you know, people came out yesterday, the usual protests that we get, it gets so intense. But a lot of people have said that 2025 June 12 protest or the June 12 reaction by Nigerians also, probably because of some of the key issues that you've mentioned, didn't live up to par, didn't live up to expectation. In Lagos is always Lagos. We got what happened in Lagos. But in your opinion, do you see this as the less you've seen in terms of Nigerians reacting to Democracy Day and, in quote, June 12 and all the emotions that come with it? Do you see it different from others, or you think, you know, it actually lived up to par or expectation?
Yes, the protest, yes, there was a planned protest earlier, but it was suppressed. It was suppressed from the behind the scene, and I see that the president's son is doing so much. That is Sheyi Tinubu is doing so much. He's rallying around the entire Nigerian youth. Those actors ordinarily that should carry out protests that will disrupt governance in the country. He has done so well by bringing them together and talking to them sincerely and strongly. Like, was it early this month or late last month, he took some session of the Nigerian youth to meeting with his dad at the villa. Somebody like Davido, and Davido, you know, the NSAS protest, Davido was one of the main actors in that.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Some of those guys that have the funds to fund the protests in the country, they have been co-opted into the system. They have been co-opted into the system. So weakening the rest of the younger Nigerians who will have the voice and the mind to go out and say, what you are doing in this direction, we don't want it. The policies, these your policies, we are not happy with it. This we are not happy. Those things are things that will bring the image of the government down. And Sheyi is doing so much to helping the dad from that direction, and he's achieving success. So ordinarily, all of us were expecting that there would have been a little protest showing to the government, those in power, that they are not living up to expectation, but it was suppressed. And so Nigerians are living with their pains now. They are living with their pains. They can't voice out. And most ones that ordinarily would have gone out to protest, they are equally afraid of this cybercrime act
bill. Yes,
cybercrime act. You see, even U.S. and Britain, they in their democracy speech, they equally mentioned it. The cybercrime act is
against the voices of the youth,
against democracy.
Against democracy.
That if they are to talk about democracy in June 12, to celebrate June 12, they should look into cybercrime act.
Now, Richard, let us take a look at the consequences of gagging when you when you gag the voices of the people? And, you know, we're using Nigeria now as a yardstick. What do you see or feel will be the consequences of not letting the people voice out their feelings about governance and, of course, leadership, transparency, accountability, as it were? What would be if this culture continues in Nigeria, where the voices of the masses are suppressed by any means at all, but at the end of the day, we're talking about gagging and there's no freedom of speech in a nation? What would be the consequences for a nation as great as Nigeria?
The consequences are high. And on the other side again, I can say is the fault of the Nigerian citizens, especially the youth. This freedom of speech, yes, is in the Constitution, that as citizens we should have freedom of speech. But the way you talk, if it's against national security, is another thing. Your freedom of expression cannot lead you into putting the country into national security problem. And I believe that could be the reason for this shrinking of this information, shrinking of this media issue from the government angle. I believe sincerely that should be the reason. If not, if you look at social media, yes, social media have done so well in making democracy to be what it is. But there are still some youth that abuse this right on social media, Facebook and other areas. They will talk and not putting the interest of the country above every other interest. At the top burner. Yes. That is why, that is the only difference between a democratic state and a socialist state. Like Russia, China, they conduct elections like us that practice democracy. And we still see them as a non-democratic state. Why? Because they don't give citizens that right that will push them into throwing the country into national anarchy. Security issue. So they suppress them. There are things you say that if it is against national security, you can be killed in some of those countries. But in a democratic state, that freedom has led us into, like, some of the security issue and some things are happening in Nigeria today that is out of control now. Is caused by this freedom of expression. Sincerely, if you look at this very critically, you will see. So suppressing the voice of the masses is against democracy. But those of us that have been given that opportunity as citizens, we should equally consider the interests of the nation. Even the crude oil, you must refine it before you can use it. If you are to bring out anything from your mouth, if you are to voice out, you have to first of all refine what you are bringing out. Will this cause crisis? Like now, if I want to talk to you, there's a way and manner I will talk to you that will cause problem between us. Definitely. And if I know quite well that if I say this, it will cause friction. I don't just have to say it. But in Nigeria, because of this freedom of expression, freedom of speech,
we throw caution to the wind.
People throw things crudely anyhow, and it's not doing us any good. So I think on both sides, we still have to check ourselves, and if we can control that, I think such laws, they are not good in democracy.
Okay. Yes, I appreciate you, Richard, for all you've said this morning. We're going to go on a short break, but we want you to know we still have two more aspects that we've not touched. We're taking a look at labor, fresh battle with the federal government, and of course, the posthumous awards. These are the analysis we're taking a look at. We'll take a break, and when we return, the phone lines will be open so you can call in and be part of the conversation. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back. The conversation continues on this part of the show. The phone lines now can be displayed so you can call in and be part of the conversation. Before the break, we were discussing post-June 12 celebration and, of course, protest, talking about Democracy Day in Nigeria and the aftermath of that happened. Now we want to take a look at the other aspect that we said we'll be talking about this morning, which is Labour's fresh battle with the federal government. And of course, the look now is a consequential adjustment of the new minimum wage. Says that the benefits, Nigerian workers are now enjoying the benefits of this new wage since it came into effect last year, June. And I know consequential adjustment is a very huge term for a lot of people, but as usual, I have my statistics here that I want to share with you. Now, the consequential adjustment for Consolidated Public Service Salary Structure, COMPSS, is actually called Group 1. It is called Group 1. And on that group, grade level 07 or grade level 7 is expected to earn 23.2% additional. Grade level 8, 20%. Grade level 9, 19%. Grade level 10, 14%, which is also has been increased to 16%, if I'm correct, while grade level 15 and 17 is 14%. Now, Labour, Richard, in Geneva, where they went for the International Labour Conference, while speaking with the press, actually said, there is a need to readdress the consequential adjustment of the new minimum wage. Bottom line, they want to have, a meeting again with the federal government, not just Labour, the TUC also were at that meeting, and they say federal government is not keeping the end of the agreement, and there's a need to reassess it and have a sit down. So I want your take on this, because most times, I don't know if I'm speaking out of line, but this is a program created to say the truth the way it is. Nigerians have lost hope and faith over on Labour. They have lost it, the trust, because some actually believe that whatever is being done is political, and there's no transparency, because most times what is said or what is on paper is different from what is said, and the actions carried out is different all round. So with this, do you see any headway for Nigerian workers?
Thank you so much. Listening to what is the name, the other guy, what is that his name? He praised the government for the area of, a minimum wage, which some states 75, 72, 70,000 naira in some cases, that it has been implemented 80% across board. But this consequential adjustment, like level 8, maybe at the end of the month, what will be added to your salary should be around 5,000 or 4,000 something naira, and some level, maybe level 14, either 15 or 20 something thousand naira. Those ones are the ones they are agitating for. But in a nutshell, both Labour and the government, they are the major problem of Nigeria. Yes.
Labour and the government?
Yes, they are the major problem of Nigeria.
How so?
Like the public sector. These are the two layers that controls, that synergize for the development. If any country is developed, any democratic state that is developed, is the synergy. If the synergy is good, and if they behave patriotically, then the country will be good. That Nigeria is complaining about bad governance today is as a result of their synergy to just continue the benefit against the general masses. These two sectors, two layers under one sector, they form the government sector. The government sector is the public servant. And these public servants have two layers. That is the political class, those that we elect. and Constitution give them maybe 4 years in democracy, then you renew their mandate again. The legitimacy they have is from the electoral process. In the civil service side, the legitimacy they have is from the recruitment process. They are the bureaucrats. So these two, they work hand in hand to ensure that good life is given to the population. And the public, the business sector, which is the private sector, them too formulate policies. The political class formulate policies. Why these civil servants, they implement these policies to ensure that they monitor the activities of these private sectors in the interest of the general masses. But the failure of these public servants, which is the political class and the civil servants, the failure and they are gang up against the rest of us is the reason we are having democracy negatively in Nigeria today. So any complaint coming from the labor union is like it's a propaganda, because they are always fighting each other to see who is benefiting more and who you are benefiting more. You are not reaching out to us. They are just always countering each other against all of us. So what is our benefit if labor is fighting for this consequential adjustment, when the other poor Nigerians, they are not seeing hospitals in our communities working effectively? And it's these civil servants who ordinarily should release funds allocated through budget for the implementation of some of these infrastructures in our rural health centers. Schools, they are the ones. The budget now that will be spent this year, this 2025 budget, is now the legislatures, they have approved the budget. The president brought the budget to them from the executive. They have approved it. President have signed it into law. It's still these civil servants that will monitor the implementation. And at the end, this money, like last year, just 25% total. Total 25%. That is a vote of no confidence. And Nigerians need so much from these two sectors, these two layers of governance
to work.
Yes. So, but they are not rendering the service the way they should render to Nigerians, and that is why there's complaint everywhere.
Please, Richard, let's take this call. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
Yes. My name is Overall Chairman, calling you from Akwanga, Nasarawa State.
Okay.
Overall Chairman, SDP General.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. You see, I hear your guests talking that people to know how to talk when they are protest. You see, this is our country. Our policemen controlled by federal government. The soldier controlled by federal government. You see, during the protest, at least I have a time to watch what is happening in Abuja. Abuja citizens came out and protest peacefully. And you know what happened? They tear-gassed all the people that protest. In fact, even the reporter of ART, they tear-gassed him. You see, you will go in history. This is our president. If you go for what he reported before, you will see how the man is when he's not the president. Then he's talking arrogant and nothing happened with him. But for this government today, if you protest, they will arrest you, or you will receive beat for your life. So I think we are not practicing democracy any longer. So this government to respect the right of citizens. I know some areas, some states, they did not do well for that protest. But some areas, some states that they do well, they protest peacefully. But the security agency are harassing them because it's what they direct them to do. This government don't want anybody to come out and protest and tell them the truth.
Okay, that's our first caller for the day. If I had Shekere, I would have, done that for him this morning, you know, like they do, pour water, just that it will get all this place wet. Okay, so you have our first caller take us back to the post-June 12 protest in the nation. Give and take, all that we're talking about today is somehow interwoven. And I don't know if you want to react to what he said or you want to continue with
my reaction to what he has said is that even if they give them the opportunity to protest, it's just for the outside world to see that Nigeria is practicing real democracy and that people are coming out to protest and showing their grievances to government, but they will monitor them in a way that it will not go out of hand. But like what he said, what happened yesterday, the protest wasn't, if Nigerians sincerely want to protest, there will be another terrible issue. Because there's no single individual in this country today that doesn't have anger. The tension is so high in the mind of everyone. Go visit communities, visit some people, even within Abuja here, and see how the level pressure they are.
Okay, we have another call. Please, anytime you're calling on the show, make sure you're far away from your TV set. Please move away from your TV set. Okay. Please, anytime you're calling, you should know by now that you always get feedback when you're close to your TV set. You either switch it off or you tune down the volume, or you go far, far away from your TV. So when you call, we can have the conversation. All right? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning, KAFTAN TV.
Good morning. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
My name is John. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, John. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Please go ahead. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, my contribution is just to correct a notion from your guest. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree with some of the things that he's saying in terms of the government and labor, that they are the cause of the major problem of this country. I understand that. But that notion of the recruited civil servants or public servants, that they are the ones that are not carrying out their function very well, I disagree with that.
Why so?
Because every ministry has minister that they present their budget, and every project that they will be executing for the year, the money of that project is allocated to them. They are the ones that sign it out, not the public servant or civil servant. The civil servants are only there carrying out different, just little jobs, and then what they only earn is their salary and what the overhead budget that they use in running affairs of the ministry or agency. But the minister, like Minister of Power now, you don't expect public servants or civil servants that are recruited to be carrying out maintenance of power grid. There's money, billions of naira that have been budgeted for the minister. He is the one to take care of this. So he still falls down to the politicians. So not the civil servants.
Listen to me. Okay.
But he will listen from home.
Okay. See, he is talking as a civil servant. In every ministry, permanent secretary is the head of all the civil servants there. Every civil servant in every ministry, they are under the leadership and the control, the coordination of the permanent secretary. So, why will he now say he's separating civil servants from what is going on in our system? You can't separate them. They are one. Even as a junior staff, you can rise it to PAMSEC, directors within the ministry. They are the one that monitor the implementation of this budget. Politician, like the minister he mentioned, is an appointed public servant by the president. Okay, he has no power to supervise any project. He only oversee what the ministry is doing through the permanent secretaries and the directors. Then the procurement director is still under the PAMSEC. They are all civil servants. They are the one making arrangements, like the procurement department, that deciding which a company is awarded contract. It's not the minister. It is a procurement department. The accountant is there that will release. They have all of this in every ministry. The accountant department, they are there to release funds. Procurement department is there to ensure that companies are well organized and arranged in a way and manner that which one is qualified for this project, and they award the contract to such companies. Then they release. They equally monitor. It is the ministry that monitor the implementation of this project. The minister only oversees, just like a spectator, and brief the president what is going on with the implementation. So there is no how civil servants can separate themselves from what is going on in the country. Them and the political class, they are the major problem of this country. If any budget is implemented, then you give kudos to civil servants. Then the political class who monitor, who equally oversee, then you can equally give them kudos. But any failure, you put them together and give them the blame. And there is no political class that will come into power today that is corrupt tomorrow. Now you will not push the blame to the civil servant, either the accountant, the director of procurement, the permanent secretary, who will tell you this company, which is your company. Then the minister will say, this company, I want this company to win this social contract. It is their collaboration that is causing all of this corruption and doing us this nonsense that we are where we are developed. So you can't, as a civil servant, exonerate yourself. Our problem in Nigeria, that democracy is not working. Democracy is about giving good life to the citizens. It's about peace. And how do we have peace? We have peace when we have pure development, when we have good governance. There will be peace everywhere when we have good governance. People have peace of mind. People are freely participating in politics. Like now the electoral umpire is being managed by state civil servants. You understand? It's still being managed by civil servants. If Nigerians complain tomorrow that their vote are not counted, you still push the blame to the electoral umpire. Who are the ones managing this electoral umpire? It's still the civil servants who collaborate with the political class to see who win which election, to see how manipulation will be done in favor of who. So we are having all of these challenges as a result of the lapses, the ineptitude of this two sessions.
Now, talking about good life, because since you came in this morning, you've mentioned good life, good life, good life. For us women, we call it soft life. We call it soft life. The very first time I ever heard soft life was in one of those reality shows where one of the contestants came in and said, you know, all she knows or all she wants in life is soft life. Never heard it coined that way. Now, seriously, talking about good life for Nigerians is a paradox that for a nation so blessed with not just human resources, we're blessed with natural resources.